What's up everyone? Welcome to Target Focus Life. My name's Steve and today I have the Pointer Field Tek 4 semi-auto shotgun. This happens to be one of the cheapest semi-autos on the market. So if you're looking for a detailed, in-depth review, you've come to the right place. Let's go! Now I gotta say, when it comes to semi-auto shotguns that are sub $700, I'm always a little bit leery. MSRP of this Pointer Field Tek 4, or FT4 for short, is $499. And I got it for $439 from my favorite sporting good retailer, so I'm really curious. I'm a little bit leery. Is this shotgun even worth that price? We're gonna put it to the test today. I'm excited about that. First, taking a dive into the specs. Like I mentioned, MSRP $499. This is a 12 gauge in 28 inch. Now this Pointer Field Tek 4 is made by Legacy Sports International. It's actually made in Turkey by KRCAV, imported by Legacy Sports International, along with other brands like Howa, Citadel, several other brands. The FT4 is also available in 20 gauge and 28 gauge. Now, if this turns out to be a decent shotgun, it looks pretty decent out of the box, but we care more about function, feel, reliability, and we're gonna dive into those things today. Now, when I'm doing a review, I always go to the manufacturer's website and check it out to see what information I can gather, especially the specs. I didn't find much on this shotgun. I just measured length of pull. It's a little over 14 1/8. Maybe they're shooting for 14 1/4. It was a little short of that, so this gun's gonna be a little bit short for me. As far as what came in the box, I didn't see any shims or spacers to really make any modifications. And I also didn't see anything on their website. I don't have a great way to measure drop, although I did just order a tool where I can measure all these dimensions. I'm excited to get that. It definitely has drop, probably 3/4 to an inch of drop, which is typical for your field guns. One last thing I want to look at as far as specs is the trigger. Let's just feel this trigger out. Decent amount of pre-travel. Clean break though. I think it's a little on the heavier side. This gun isn't super heavy itself, 7 pounds 3 ounces. So let's just take this down, see if the gun weight sets off the trigger. So we're looking at high 7s is what I'm gonna say. But let's put it on the scale and find out. First pull here, we're coming out. Oh boy, she's stiff. 8 pounds, 5.6 ounces. We'll get a couple pulls here to get a good average. Wow, that one pulled at 9 pounds, 4.2. 9 pounds, 15.8 ounces. We're getting heavier every pull. So we got an average of 9 pounds, 3.2 ounces. So right off the bat, we know you're not buying this shotgun for its nice trigger, okay? That's all right, it's a low dollar shotgun. We can't expect a high trigger, but what difference does that really make when we're out shooting? I'll see, especially when it comes to speed shooting. I'll know if that trigger affects performance. Taking a look at the ergonomics of this shotgun, first thing I'd like to do is just how does it feel in the hands, balance, mount it up. It is short for me out of the box. I'm just under 6 foot. You could always put aftermarket pads on here, and based on this recoil pad, I would definitely throw a Falcon Strike on here. But Falcon Strikes aren't the cheapest thing. They're really nice, they're great, they work awesome. But if you're buying a $500 shotgun, you might have a hard time justifying the price of a Falcon Strike, but I don't like that pad. Super stiff, nothing fancy about it. A little bit lighter gun. I fear this is gonna have some heavier recoil, but it is gas operated, so we will find out. As far as the grip, if my finger hits the right place in the trigger, the grip doesn't fit me. I have a nice gap right here in my hands. That's probably hard to see. But if I get my hand fit to the grip, you'll see how my finger is up at an angle. I can't get good trigger contact, pulling straight back as I'd want to. Not uncommon at all in a lot of out-of-the-box shotguns. The forearm, not much for texturing. That might be okay. It's got a good feel to it. This is at an angle coming up like this. So if you're a person that likes to point, hard to point your finger in line with the barrel. If you like to grab it like this, it's about perfect for that. I like to point. I like to stay consistent. You could always point like this. That works. Feels pretty decent. It feels front heavy. Let's see if I'm right about that. A lot of semi-autos is right at the front of the receiver, but this is, yep, it's front heavy. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's going to create a little smoother A little smoother swing action. I can definitely feel the weights out in my front lead hand. Vented rib, but it is flat. I always like my stepped up ribs. That's a little bit of personal preference. A lot of field guns, flat ribs. Fiber on the front, cross bolt safety on the rear of the trigger guard. It's got a cool red follower. I like that. Loading is not pleasant. Very tight, sharp edges, hard to get in there. And it's not gonna lift unless you click that button, which is very inconveniently located in my opinion. That's a little bit of the function of this shotgun, just the bolt release. It's not gonna also lock back until you hit this lever right there. I don't like that at all. The bolt release, just a small button. Gotta have some strong fingers, not oversized trigger guard, nothing fancy there, just a polymer plastic trigger guard. Not anything out of the norm for a $500 shotgun. This is about what you might expect. Nothing fancy, no frills, some pain, some inconveniences, but it does look nice. Cerakoted receiver, Cerakoted barrel. I like the look of it for a $500 shotgun. Now, one highlight is this gun does come with 5 extended chokes. Comes in a nice little carrying case right here. Now, I don't know if these chokes are worth anything, but it does come with 5 of them. I would, of course, if I got this gun, switch it out for my Carlsons. Good partner of TFL. Great maker of chokes. Yeah, ergonomic wise, it's okay. It's all right. It's in line with what you would expect. I like the feel. It's okay. It's not a good fit for me personally. Enough talking. We want to look at recoil and reliability. I want to get some rounds downrange. This is one of those things that's going to tell me a lot about this gun. Does it cycle consistently? Is it comfortable to shoot, or does it kick the snot out of you? A little bit on the lighter side, so I'm a little skeptical, but it is a gas gun. We'll see how this gas system works. I can say without a doubt, loading it's a pain. It does not load smoothly at all. Let me just grab some hand-thrown clays here. Ooh, that trigger. That was awkward. That felt really weird with that trigger. If you like to punch the trigger, this might be a gun for you because you really gotta rip it. If you just ease into it, not good at all. No ejection issues. Smoke and clays. All right, as far as recoil, it's actually pretty moderate. I don't mind the recoil. I've been shooting guns last several days. My shoulder's beat up from some hard recoiling guns. If you don't do this just right, you really got to make sure the front gets pushed down at an angle, and then once you can get it in the magazine tube, then push it up straight. If you're off at an angle like this, you're gonna rub your hand raw. I did that twice and I felt like I was bleeding already. Recoil's not bad though. Quite surprised. Handled it pretty well. Just run some target loads through this gun. Make sure it cycles well. Look at that. I've shot $1,300, $1,400 guns that had issues cycling. Let's try it over the head. Woo! Look at that. I'm quite impressed with how well this is cycling, actually. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go away from the target loads, go to the Black Cloud, 1.25 ounce waterfowl hunting loads. This is a 3-inch chamber. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. 3-inch chamber. Make sure I got 3-inch shells. I don't really shoot 3.5s, but always good to check that out. Pull. I've had worse.
Pull. Should I do the rest of the review?
You're on for the rest. I'm good right here. After shooting several rounds of Black Cloud, this gun is starting to fall apart. I have had some other guns do that, not nearly this quick. I would have to take off the butt pad, and there should be a bolt that goes in there that anchors into the receiver. We're gonna have to tighten that up because this is not shootable like that. Let's tighten it back up and see if we can keep shooting. So got the gun put back together. It was actually really, really simple, partly due to how the butt pad comes off. So I don't think you could add an aftermarket butt pad, which is a downside. But what's cool about this butt pad is it has a notch in the top side. So the notch clicks in. And then there's one screw in the stock. So super simple to take the butt pad off and access that bolt. Now you need a deep socket, like a super deep socket wrench. So we're back together. We'll shoot more through this gun, see if that happens again, if it rattles loose. That was rather quick, but not a difficult fix at all. Here's what I've learned. It was fun to shoot this full box of Black Cloud. This actually handles recoil really well. Like better than some $1,600 shotguns. I won't name any names. I really want to name names, but I won't. Handles recoil really well, no issues with ejection. I'm really happy with that. Next thing we're gonna look at is breakdown of this shotgun. This is where it gets kind of funky. All right, so all the shotguns that I shoot, I take them apart, I clean them well, I lubricate them well. So I've taken this gun apart, 4-end cap, which is kind of cool, kind of a cool design. Plug just slides out, I don't like that, it's an easy way to lose a plug. And then 4-end off. This is where it gets goofy. To hold the barrel on, there's an extra nut, which I see is wiggled loose. The barrel's not loose, but this nut wiggled loose. So you gotta screw that off. 2 sets of threads. The barrel I've had a ton of issues with. It's super tight. Maybe they got great tolerances, but let's release the bolt. Maybe that will help. There we go. Release the bolt. Every gun has its little nuances. Barrel's off. Like, my belief is a bolt handle should just pop out. All right, so I figured it out. This bolt, the top piece, the black piece slides, has to be in just the right spot, but then I needed leverage. The first time I took it out, I used a pliers. I was able to pry it with a screwdriver. This has got to be one of the dumbest designs. There we go. Whew. We got the piston. We got a dirty bolt that rides on this action bar. Boy, we got a lot of pieces here. Springs. It's getting dirty pretty quick. We're not many rounds into this. 1-pin design. I do like that. Let's pop that off. That pin out. We had to slide a little bit forward and then out. The gun's apart. Oh man, it's pretty dirty back in the receiver for not many rounds in there. Maybe not the cleanest shooting gun. That's the pointer. FT4 taken apart. Put it back together. Pin back in. Whew, okay. All right, there's a lot of pieces. Spring. Whatever this is. Don't even know. That goes back. Got to hold pressure on that. Piston goes on. This is where I've really struggled with this gun. One of the many places I've struggled with this gun. Bolt handle. Let's see if it goes in. You play some like Jeopardy music. What in the world? We are having some technical difficulties. Okay, we're back. This might be the slowest review I've ever made because I'm having to stop and figure all this stuff out. So what I figured out is this action bar had to go on this plastic piece first with the bolt, all slide on together, then throw the bolt handle in, which is a pain. Then we're on with the piston. Then we can go to the barrel. This is by far one of the most complicated. Oh, that's as easy as that went for me. That's a plus. One of the most complicated semi-autos, or the most complicated semi-autos I've ever disassembled, put back together. I really dislike how the whole barrel and all this is held on just by this nut that wiggled loose. Forearm, back in. There is nothing easy about this gun, but we're disassembled and back together and ready to move on to some speed shooting. This is where I'm gonna put it all together on the clock, shooting 3 clays as fast as I can. I'm gonna be looking at mountability. I'm gonna be looking at recoil. I'm gonna be looking at the trigger. All things come together on the clock, and then I'll give my final thoughts on this Pointer FT4. Hey, that was a legit score. Very poor shooting, 185. It's short for me, so mounting's a little bit of a challenge. That trigger is tough. Just hard to get into good rhythm shooting this fast. That's only first try. We got a few more. You gotta punch that trigger. I went up there to shoot and I went boom, boom, boom. Like I tried to shoot 3 shots and never got one to go off. Oh, not terrible. Not pleasant to shoot. I really noticed the trigger. Recoil's not bad, 151. I gotta see what the splits were. A 2.8 and a 3.1. Those are super slow splits, but we'll keep putting it through its paces. That bolt release, really tough. That trigger sucks. Technically hit that middle one, a 144. Let's give it a few more tries, see if we can get this pointer to shoot a little better. 152. Yeah, took me 0.93 to get on, but my split still 0.28 and a 0.31 split. I'm just gonna try to shoot as fast as I can, see what I can get for splits. If you're not shooting at anything, you can shoot a little bit faster. Still a 2-1 and 2-2 split. Like a good split is a 1-7. We're not gonna worry about speed shooting too much more. I think we kind of know what we're working with here. So to summarize the Pointer Field Tek 4, sub $500 shotgun, $539, like I said, from my favorite sporting good retailer. It caused me a lot of pain, a lot of frustration. It is a shooter, it's reliable. Handles recoil fairly well. I don't shoot it well, it's a little bit short for me. The trigger really threw me off. If this had a decent trigger, I might have a little bit different view, but this trigger was terrible. Now, if you're gonna get out and hunt a few times a year, like a semi-auto to go busting through the woods or the field, definitely an option. Looking for a starter gun, it's an option. I just do these reviews so I can give you my feedback. You can kind of know what you're getting into. And if you feel like you don't want a gun with a really tough trigger, this one anyways, has a really tough trigger. Really heavy, tough to pull, very complicated to take apart and put back together. Wiggle loose right off the bat. I don't think that's a major concern. We can get that tightened back up. The biggest thing for me was the trigger and the complication of how this gun comes together. The highlights though, recoil and reliability. It's a good looking gun for the price point. So should you buy it or shouldn't you buy it? That's always up to you. I've laid it out. You know what this gun does. I hope you found this review helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only gonna hit those shots you're laser focused on. So live target focused. See ya.